Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It's April 30th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and we had a lot of movement today, but yet there's still not a lot of trades. Uh, really, this was tough right through here. Um, you're almost better off just to stay out of this. There's a couple of trades here. Most of them, I marked a few green, but you're better off just to stay out of that. And so, really, from about 8:40 to 11:40, that's 3 hours. There's not a lot of opportunity here. And I mean, this is a possibility right here. I didn't mark it. I'll at least give it green. Um, there just wasn't a lot. You had a hard time catching this down. There's no breakout pullback really. It just kind of, we actually broke through here, which opened it up a little bit. So that may give you, that at least makes these where they could be green, but they're still kind of aggressive to go short into that support because it's starting to hold again. And so that's always dangerous. But we'll talk about those when we get to them. And then, of course, then once we got the reversal, by the time you realize the reversal is going on, you're so far away from the EMA, it's just dangerous entering up through here. This is another one that's a possibility. I didn't mark it. You could probably argue for it to green. I'll put it green just so I don't forget to talk about it right there. So just it's kind of a tough day because you got all this and you don't really get to catch this, and then you don't really get a good setup back up either. And we're almost into 2 o'clock before you get another setup up here. So this is not an easy day. This is one of those days where you just have to sit and be patient, and not everybody can do that. And that's where most people struggle, and that's where most people fail. So just remember, they're just when you start to get in this tight ranges like this, sometimes it's just better off to stay out, get up and walk away, go take a break, take the day off, whatever. Um, but if you sit here and force yourself into a bad trade, you will eventually regret it. Because even if you get the direction right, even if you get short in here, just like right here, it ends up bouncing. It would have stopped you out before it went exactly where you thought it was going to go to begin with. So that's the danger of that. So just keep that in mind. Make this a little bigger. All right, 7 o'clock came right here, right at this very first entry here. I marked it green. Notice that we've got a little channel working up. You get a break, and you got two legs up, basically. It's a little bit more than a measured two legs, actually. And you're so far away from the EMA. Nice reversal bar. That's where the support and resistance was yesterday at the close. You can see right across there near the close. And we tested that. Notice when we came through, we never tested that. And so you had to figure that's what we were coming back to do when it turned down there. And so it looked like this was going to be a range day. And it really was a range day up until maybe 10 o'clock. And then we sold on down. And then we reversed and trended up the rest of the day. So um, I'd classify this mostly as a range day. Because even once we started trending up, we're back in the range here, and then we just went flat again up here. And we actually rallied a little bit right into the close. So we're back around 29.50, actually getting close to 29.60 now. So this market just keeps just keeps moving on straight up. And so it doesn't, sometimes they have to take it down before it'll go up. And they probably suckered in a lot of shorts in here, and suddenly they all got to exit. And that takes the market rallying again. That's the way they work. Same thing with ranges. They'll break it out to take it lower, and then they'll break it out the low side to take it higher. And eventually it falls. But let's talk about the trades. I had this one right here. It's always risky trying to pick tops, but you do have your two legs up. It is a retest of this area. You're a long way away from the EMA, so you're probably going to come back there. It's just a matter of timing, and if you get it right, you might catch an important high for the day. And of course, you really do. I mean, that turns out to be your high going into. We dropped almost. Well, we were at 29.45 or so, and it dropped all the way to almost 29.25. So that's a 20-point move. So if you can catch that trade right there, you probably would have exited somewhere in here when it went flat, but still, that's a nice trade. That's an easy trade. The smarter move is to wait on the lower high, which came here, but you're having to go short right into the EMA. I mean, you could probably still argue for that to be green, but I think you're better off to wait on the reversal pattern, which comes here. And there's your failed second entry long and your lower high and a fairly bearish bar. I like going short right there. It comes back and gives you a second entry short. Notice that low, first entry, second entry. And this is really going sideways, so it's like a little failed break, but look how bearish that is right at the open. That's a great place to get short. And I'd look for a measured leg down right there. Just measure that one. And then look for a measured leg down. You can see we got basically almost a perfect measured leg. We want a few ticks further than that. So this turns out to be a nice little move down. Then we bounce, and then we just get stuck in this really tight range. And these are the ones, you know, it's 36. That's a 3-point range. There's enough room to get out if you can get in at the very high or the very low, but you're almost better off stay out of this. So you got a double test. Actually, you got a failed second entry long right here. Notice that high, first entry, and then second entry. And you're looking for a reversal because we moved up. You got to close outside new high. Then we made a lower high and then another lower high. Fairly bearish bar. It's not a great setup, but it's there. And you might figure we're going to get another leg down like this one, which we eventually do, but it doesn't come to much later because they just couldn't get it through the support area. And then we make that high, and then we make a double test of it. And there's also a second entry short there. Notice that low, first entry, second entry. So that's a second entry short. It's a double test of this level right here. Test once, test twice. A fairly bearish bar. That's a good place to go short. You got enough room to get out before getting back down here. It's a little tight right there, but this is really a trap and that double test, and it's probably going to drop on down. So that one's probably your better trade there before we go into this long range. And then we're just working sideways. And there is a possibility right here. There's a second entry long. Well, technically, it's not a true second entry. It is a second entry. It's a high or low, a little bit away from the EMA. And look how many times we've tested that. So that's a possibility. Again, I'm only going to mark it green. And, of course, we run back to the high side. And that's just a first entry. That's basically one leg up. And you get a lower high right here, but it's right into the EMA, right in the middle. You try to go higher again, so you got a trap. But look where you got to go short, right into all that support. And you don't have much room to here, so you just have to skip that one. And then we fail lower, but you don't really get a setup bar down here. It runs back up. If you had a nice bullish bar here, I'd be okay with maybe going long, but you also have what looks like a trend line working down right there, and there's been no close outside or anything. So it runs back up, and you finally get a lower high here, but now you're all the way back to the other side. You get a failed second entry long here after you've already pushed through, so there's a good chance you could go lower there, but it's still risky. And then we pull back again, and it actually breaks higher and turns down and goes out the other side. You may want to take that short too. Again, those are both aggressive, and look at it go. And there's just not a good way to get in that, not a safe way, because it never gives you another entry. And you don't want to be entering down here way away from the EMA after we've been dropping that long, especially after a break, because you could go one tick lower and reverse. You finally make a higher low right here. Still a little room back to the EMA, not a lot. So I'm not crazy about that one either. And then you get an actual failed second entry short right there, but that's all still part of that move. So you could really treat this one like the failed second entry short. Plus it comes back to a possible trend line. And the way I got that was I drew this trend line off the highs and drug it over. And when we bounced right there, that's a very neutral bar. But if you looked at it like a failed second entry short, you may consider that one. It's not a perfect setup again, so I just made it green. And then notice that's a new swing low because that it's lower than that one. So first entry, second entry, and everything's still bouncing off that trend line. So you may take that one. Again, it's way away from the EMA, and we've been away for a while, but it is off a key entry point, that trend line, and it is a failed second entry short, and we still have a lot of room left to go back up here just to test the breakout area. So that's a distinct possibility. Again, I think it's green. This one's real close to being able to say, hey, you could justify that one, but it's still a long way away from that EMA. So, and of course, we run up here and we start going sideways. You get a little failed break higher, but you don't want to be going short. This has been too bullish. You need to be looking for a long. And then we fell out the bottom side and we bounce right off that trend line in a nice bullish bar. So that's a good play. That's your first good trade. You got plenty of room to get out now. And hopefully it's going to push on higher. And you may catch an important low there, which you end up doing. But even if you skip that one, you make a push up, you pull back, you get a first entry, and you pull back, you get a second entry, and again, it closes above that trend line. That's a second entry long, again, off that key entry point that has been holding all the way up. That's another good entry spot, and you can see the smart traders like that one. That's the best move we've had since this thing started correcting back across here. And then, of course, we run up to the highs, pull back first entry. You actually get a second entry right there, but you don't want to take that one. Not a good signal bar, not back to the key entry point or anything. And it finally comes back and you get a little double test right here. Notice that low, test it once, twice. And you get a second entry long on a nice little small bullish bar. You may have had a hard time getting in that one because it kind of skips over the EMA right there. It's one of those bars that don't overlap. But if you could get in it, if your chart allowed you to get in, that was another little scalp before we went into the 2 o'clock hour. So, but you can see this is basically a double top. So a new high, first entry, second entry. And you could look at this whole thing as a second entry on a bigger picture. New high, first entry, and then there's two legs in this second leg, second entry. So a couple of different ways to look at that one. So not a lot of trades today. There were a few that you could have caught here, and a couple of them you could have caught runners, especially in the afternoon. These couple right in here. And if you were brave on some of these green ones, you might have caught a nice move. But, you know, I just think you're taking a chance because sometimes you're going to get burned on those. But, yeah, at least we got a little movement today. It wasn't straight across. I thought we were going to be stuck in something like this most of the day for a while there. And it finally started moving. But anyway, there's not much else we can talk about today. So this is just kind of a down reversal type day. I'd almost want to call this a range day because we spent most of the day trading inside the overnight highs and lows. We were outside for a little while here and outside for a little while here. But really from 10 o'clock on, it was a rally, an uptrend, an upward bias. And really from prior to that, it was all downhill. Even here, you've got a downward bias because you're not, you know, you should be from here, you should be going higher. And when you continue to make lower highs each time there, that's telling you something. This thing doesn't have a lot of buying power and it's probably going to drop. It's not a matter of if, probably, it's just a matter of when. And that when was finally right here. Boom. So, okay, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.